Welcome, everybody.
It's already 5:30.
Yes.
We're going to begin while people are joining. Usually people come, Hawaii time a few minutes late. So just while people are coming and joining, our first speaker will be Rabbi Krasniansky and then the Rebbetzin Krasniansky from Oahu, head of Chabad of Hawaii. And then we'll go to the other islands. But just before as people are coming on, to give a few more minutes, just going to play a short video from GEM, Jewish Educational Media, a little short 3-minute clip of the Rebbe's little life biography of the Rebbe, which will give people a few minutes to come in and join, and then we'll have our first speaker. So, let me screen share. This is a 3-minute clip, and then we'll have our first speaker.
The story of the Rebbe's life parallels the story of Judaism in the 20th century. He was born in Tsarist Russia at the turn of the century, a descendant of the first Rebbes of Chabad. He survived the murderous pogroms that swept through Tsarist Russia in the early 1900s. As the Communist Revolution began to take root and power was seized by the Bolsheviks, he watched his parents walk the halls of power, fighting for the rights of Jews and Judaism. As a teenager during World War I, his home was a center of relief efforts for the tens of thousands of Jewish refugees who flooded their city. In his 20s, he met and studied with the Torah giants of his times. He married the daughter of the 6th Lubavitcher Rebbe in a wedding attended by Jewish leaders from far and near. Living in Berlin during Hitler's rise to power, he witnessed firsthand a modern society turning against the Jews within it. He escaped Paris only days ahead of the Nazi advance into the city, then crossed the Atlantic on one of the last civilian vessels to leave warlocked Europe. When he arrived, his father-in-law placed him at the helm of Lubavitch's newly founded educational, social, and publishing departments. As the center of world Jewry shifted to the United States, he became the leader of the Lubavitch Hasidic movement. At the time, his strategy was considered risky, even dangerous. He taught his followers, in addition to focusing inward on improving themselves, to bring Judaism outward, pioneering the concept of modern Jewish outreach. As hundreds of thousands of Jewish pioneers moved to the Holy Land, he engaged and corresponded with their leaders. During peace and conflict, he embraced the people and the land of Israel. In evolving attitudes and trends, he managed to identify a yearning for something higher, endeavoring to quench the thirst with increased spirituality and morality. Under the noses of brutal dictators, he ran a network of clandestine operatives. As Jews began to enjoy a freedom unseen in hundreds, perhaps thousands of years, he proclaimed that moral people must be a light unto their neighbors, promoting the 7 universal laws for all of humanity. In a century which saw more scientific advances than thousands of years before it, he embraced what others shunned, encouraging that technology be used in the service of its creator. As travel and communication made the world smaller, he inspired thousands to reach out to their brethren in love, as they had once been chased down in hatred. The Rebbe spoke precious little about himself, so his life has never been properly documented. Rather, it is impressed on the hearts and minds of those who encountered him through the years.
Okay. So, okay. Okay. That is a little introduction to the Rebbe. We'll share little video clips in between the speakers of the Rebbe's interactions, some music, some nigunim, some melodies. We're going to start with the first speaker tonight, Rabbi Krasniansky, who is the Rebbe, together with his wife, the Rebbe's first emissaries to Hawaii in the 80s, and who pioneered Shluchos, Chabad outreach, and Judaism, Torah, true Judaism in the islands of Hawaii. So, without further ado, Rabbi Krasniansky, I'm going to ask everybody else to please mute yourselves.
Okay. Are we unmuted?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Rabbi Michal, for please turn off, for putting this Zoom Farbrengen together. Appreciate it. I'm not sure the attendees. Is it a local crowd or is it mainland? I know you're on the mainland, but everyone else, are we talking to our neighbors, or we're reaching out to the mainland?
I think we're mostly people in Hawaii, different islands. I see people from Maui, I see people from other islands, maybe some mainland as well, but
Okay, very good. So as we just saw the clip of the Rebbe, a very short synopsis of the Rebbe's life and the Rebbe's mission. And we're all beneficiaries of it. Chabad here in Hawaii, like Chabad pretty much all over the globe today. The Rebbe sent out young couples to go outside of the mainstream of Jewish life, of Jewish communities, outside of New York, Israel, Paris, all of the Jewish centers of Jewish life. And the Rebbe sent out all these young couples to open up Chabad houses, not synagogues, but Chabad houses, to give it a homey touch and to bring the teachings and the beauty of Judaism, which is Yiddishkeit, to Jews who may be unaffiliated and unconnected, or where there's very little Jewish life. So as we locals know, the Chabad has been here since 1987, August of 1987. When we first came here, when the Rebbe sent us here, Hawaii was considered a very exotic place in the outreach of Chabad. But today, where Chabad is in literally every corner of the world, every Jewish community, Hawaii is not exotic anymore. We are actually considered almost like mainstream. So the question is, we're talking about, this is 30 years of the Rebbe's passing, commemorating the Rebbe's passing, and a measure of a person's life, how meaningful is a person's life, is how the ripple effect of the after his life, the void and the absence that is felt once a person passes. If a person lives an inconsequential life, then family and friends mourn your passing, but the world goes on. But the Rebbe had such a strong impact, not only on Jewish life, but primarily on Jewish life, in ways that were unprecedented in Jewish history, as the clip we just heard alluded to, that there was this fear and concern that will this be able to continue? Will the Rebbe's inspiration be able to continue to inspire? If everyone can mute themselves. The question was if, or the fear was whether Chabad can continue to hold on to its achievements that the Rebbe attained or not. So 30 years, fast forward 30 years, and Chabad continues to grow. Chabad houses have multiplied exponentially. There's over 5,000 Chabad houses around the world, which means there's Chabad centers in 5,000 Jewish communities around the world. And it continues to grow, and the Rebbe's teachings continue to inspire a whole new generation, a generation of young people who actually never knew the Rebbe while he was alive, but nevertheless, his teachings touch people till this very day. So what was it about the Rebbe that makes him so enduring in his lifetime and even after he passed away? So there is, in Jewish mysticism, in Kabbalah, in the Zohar, the idea that we know that the soul of every Jew is eternal. The soul is part of God. Surely the soul of a Rebbe, the term Rebbe means rabbi and translated in English, but actually it's a specific term for a grand rabbi. And the abbreviations for the word Rebbe in Hebrew is Rabbon Shel Kol Yisrael, the rabbi and the teacher of all of the Jewish people, not a communal rabbi or even a chief rabbi of a city, but someone who towers so, who stands so elevated that his teachings and his influence reaches every part of the world. And that has a lot to do with the fact that the Rebbe's vision was world encompassing. The Rebbe's vision was the vision of Torah, God's vision for this world, as it's explained in the Torah. And the Rebbe took it to heart. And when the opportunity presented itself, when the Rebbe became Rebbe in 1951, he began the work of Ufaratsta, which is to spread the teachings of Judaism, to spread the teachings of Torah to every corner of the world, even to those Jews that on the surface seem to be very, very distant and disconnected from Jewish life. I just saw earlier today a clip where someone once came to the Rebbe and he asked a blessing for his brother, who he said, my brother has no connection to Judaism. He's drifted away, and he asked the Rebbe for a blessing that his brother should reconnect to his Jewish roots. And he said it twice. My brother has no connection to Yiddishkeit. So the Rebbe looked at him and said, your brother is Jewish, correct? Obviously he was. He said, because he's Jewish, he's intimately connected to Judaism. This is who we are. This is the essence of who we are. I'm hearing an echo. Am I clear?
Yeah, somebody's not muted.
Yes.
Continue?
Yes, you're clear.
Okay, thank you. So this is what was the Rebbe's philosophy. Every single Jew is intimately connected to God. Every single Jew, by virtue of the neshama, the soul that we have, is essentially godly and good, and it's just a matter of reconnecting to our essence. And that's why we see that there was actually an urgency in the Rebbe's teachings and how the Rebbe put forth his ideas. There was an urgency in accomplishing and doing more and more and more until we reach the final goal of Judaism, which is the total transformation of the entire world, that the world becomes a godly place and a good place. And so that's in reference to the Rebbe's vision. In terms of the Rebbe's teaching, the locals, I'm sure, who are on, are learning the Rebbe's teachings, at your Chabad house or online. And I encourage everyone to go online to Chabad.org, some of the other good sites. And there's a wealth of the Rebbe's teachings in all languages. You don't have to be a scholar in order to learn the Rebbe's teaching, because it's translated in every language, and it's very, very, very powerful stuff, very uplifting stuff. And it's really what we all need for our souls to connect us to something which is higher. The Rebbe was someone who not only talked the talk, but he actually walked the walk, as they say in English. The Rebbe was like the living embodiment of everything that we learn in the Torah. If you want to imagine what was the ideal person, the way God had in mind for us, so the Rebbe lived that, and day in, day out. And because that's what he was a living Torah, so therefore he was able to inspire countless people, hundreds of thousands of people, to live purposeful lives. And as someone once said, that when you meet leaders, whether it's political leaders or other leaders, and they're really great leaders, you walk away feeling small in comparison to these great leaders in terms of their accomplishment and everything else. But when someone met the Rebbe, when you met the Rebbe, you actually walked away feeling very big yourself, because the Rebbe would address your essence, and he would open up your eyes to see your potential. And this is what endeared so many to the Rebbe. So now at this time, when we commemorate the Rebbe's passing, it's the most opportune time to refresh our connection to the Rebbe. And in the Hasidic lore, being connected to a Rebbe is very, very important, because it is the person that lifts you up. Otherwise, we get caught up in trivialities and distractions. And the Rebbe, by studying the Rebbe's teaching and by studying the Rebbe's life, we were able to open our eyes and to focus in terms of the important things. So, am I up on my time, or?
We can come back if you want to. If you want, we can. It's up to you. I mean, let's show a video. I'm going to show a video of you going past the Rebbe with Yaakov Tzur. There's a couple of videos.
Okay.
So, and then we can continue later for Farbrengen as well. I'm going to screen share. There's a video from Jewish Educational Media, which is the organization that produced and recorded videos from the Rebbe. Let me see if I can get it to the right one. 1 second. Sorry, just a second. Here we go.
Are we supposed to be seeing the video?
You don't see the video?
Nothing.
Oh, sorry. Thanks for letting me know.
My screen is blank for the last couple
Okay,
minutes.
sorry. It's playing on my screen. I guess, I'm sorry. 1 second. My apologies. It's playing on my screen. I don't know why it's not playing on your screen. Okay, let's try this again.
Maybe there's a screen sharing option that needs to be pressed.
Let me know if you see it now.
No. Now we see your screen. Oh, now we see black.
Okay. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not working. Okay, I'll show a different one then. Not sure why it's not showing. Let me try a different video.
We don't see.
It is?
We hear, but we don't see.
You don't see anything? You didn't see that? Sorry. Sorry, 1 sec.
We're going to try again.
Sorry. I don't know why it's not playing. It's very strange.
This time, at least we heard the sound.
Okay, let's go to
Maybe it takes time to load.
Thank you, Alex.
let me try another video. Let's see if this works.
Engineer, he knows.
We'll try one more trick. Hopefully it works. Screen share, multiple. Are you seeing my screen now? Please move this window away.
We see a little bit. We see black. We see part of the screen.
One of the students
You're not
asked
seeing
the Rebbe,
anything?
says, tell
No,
me,
we hear, we don't see.
and it says, I know you're the Lubavitcher Rebbe, but
Oh man, I don't know why it's not playing. So strange. Okay. I
Okay,
apologize.
maybe God just wants us to continue Farbrengen on our
I
own.
guess apologize. You know what, Everson, why don't you go ahead? I'll try to figure out why it's not playing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Michal, as my husband said, for organizing all this and making it possible for all of us all together to commemorate the Rebbe. My husband said many important points that really, each of which we could sit here and Farbrengen for hours on. So I'm actually only going to share an anecdote, a brief anecdote of our personal encounter with the Rebbe one of the times. And I'm sharing it not only because this is what happened to us, but I believe that this has a message for all of us, as so many of the Rebbe's guidance to individuals did have resonance and deep meaning for many people that read or heard the Rebbe's advice, even in later years, and certainly even now after his passing. So in the early years, my husband and I rarely, if ever, went to New York at the same time. We juggled. Either my husband went and I stayed home and minded the fort, or I went and he stayed home. We, Baruch Hashem, had a bunch of little children at home, plus flying in those days was not what it is today. It was much more complicated and difficult. There's some of you that will not remember the era of pre-internet, pre-cell phones, even, I dare say, pre-fax machine. And some of the young people that may be on may not even know what a fax machine is. And I remember when it was the latest technology. In any case, unusually enough, I believe it was in 1990, that my husband and myself were able to travel to New York together to see the Rebbe. And in those days, the Rebbe had something going called the dollar line, where on Sundays, the Rebbe would stand for hours and distribute $1 with his blessing to anyone who came by, anybody. It didn't make a difference how observant or non-observant you were, or what religious affiliation you were. Regardless, anybody who wanted could come. And the reason the Rebbe distributed dollars was to encourage the giving of tzedakah, because it says in the Talmud that the more tzedakah that is given, the speedier the redemption will come. It says that with your captives will be redeemed through charity, and Zion through righteousness. Okay, Zion, Israel. In any case, so we get to New York. It's 1990. And people would wait on line for hours for dollars. So the men would go for a while, and then there was the line of women. They'd go for a while, and then whoever was in charge of the line would alternate: men, women, men, women. And somebody came running over to us. I wish I would remember who, but this is over 30 years ago. And told us, I can get you in as a family, and like put us together, my husband, myself. We had at that point 3 little children, Sari, Rivki, Tzviki, who are Baruch Hashem now all in their mid-30s, and said, come quickly. And before we knew it, we were suddenly in front of the Rebbe with our 3 little children. Now, we were going to start a preschool that year, and I did not feel that I could say anything in front of the Rebbe. When you stood in front of the Rebbe, it was, you felt like him looking into your soul. Not into your eyes, but into the depths of your soul, and really past all the extraneous layers that we put out for the world, and really just straight to who you are and direct soul-to-soul communication. So I told my husband, I can't speak, you speak for both of us, and please ask the Rebbe for a blessing. We want to open up a preschool this year. And we walked by the Rebbe, and my husband said a few things to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe answered and gave a blessing. And then my husband asked for a blessing that we can open up a preschool. We had 3 little ones, and the oldest was 4, 3, and 2, I believe, at that time, or 3, 2, and 1. And my husband did ask the Rebbe for a bracha, for a blessing. And the Rebbe addressed my husband, but looked at me and said in the third person, speaking to my husband, certainly she will be more involved with the preschool. So the Rebbe gave me $1 and a blessing. And it was like an electric current running through you when the Rebbe spoke to you. And like I said, just speaking deeply to your soul. And then, the Rebbe said a few more words to us, and we left. It gave my little girls $1. He asked if there's going to be a tzedakah pushka in the school, and gave my little girls, Sari and Rivki, $1 each, and my son Tzviki was a baby. You see in the picture. My husband, unfortunately, I don't have the picture with me. My son Tzviki, my husband, is holding him. The Rebbe gave him $1 also, and instructed all of them to put the $1 in the pushka in the school. And when I left and I had time to absorb what was going on, I thought, that's nice. The Rebbe has a sense of humor, saying, okay, I'm going to be more involved with the school than my husband because, children are my thing. And it took me 30 years to really fully absorb that message. Okay, sorry. 30 years to fully absorb that message. I'll go down at 6 o'clock. And I realized that the Rebbe wasn't just making a humorous observation that I would be more involved with the preschool, which was natural. Most women run preschools versus the rabbis. I realized it's something what we call in Hebrew an asinas kayach, or netinat koach, which means in the modern vernacular, empowerment. That the Rebbe was empowering me and giving me, or bringing to the forefront, abilities and strengths that I did not know I possessed or had any connection with those abilities within my own self, and bringing them to the forefront and enabling me to go through all the many challenges that we would go through within the next 30, or now at this point, 37 years of our, 35 years since then, of our Shluchos, of our mission here in Hawaii, which is just to give and give and give as much Torah learning, as much Judaism. And since that blessing from the Rebbe, the education of Jewish children has been my passion and where most of my energies have gone. And the reason I share that with you is because the Rebbe said numerous times about the previous Rebbe, which we know now applies to him, that even after his passing, and I won't dwell too long on this, I'm sure there are other Chabad rabbis and Rebbetzins that can share with you, but even after the passing of a tzaddik, his soul is found in this world, and he can be accessed. And we access the Rebbe and connect to the Rebbe soul to soul as we did before. Because right now, the Rebbe is just a soul. He's not a body. And the blessings that he gave to me, I pass on to all of you, that may we each be able to tap in to the energies and the strengths that we don't even know we have, that God has endowed us, that the Rebbe so beautifully and lovingly saw within each of us. May we each tap into them. May they come to the fore. May we actualize them in our lives by learning, absorbing more Torah, more godliness, more holiness, and sharing that with everybody in our environment, in our immediate environment. So thank you, everybody, for listening. And may the Rebbe's be blessings and brachas to myself. As the representing Hawaii, I pass on to all of you. And maybe they be actualized within your own lives, within your own Torah study, within your own connection to the Rebbe, with your own passionately teaching others, whether they be Jewish children in age or Jewish children in spiritual accomplishment. Please pass on the Rebbe's blessing and pay it forward. Thank you. You're muted, Michal.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Rebbetzin Krasiansky. Actually, believe it or not, my wife and I from Kauai, we're here on the East Coast, and we came into this part of the world to be closer to the Rebbe for his Yartzeit on Tuesday. And it's midnight over here. By the Rebbe worked through the night. The Rebbe used to meet people till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and that was more important in the time of day. So we're operating here at midnight to have this Zoom with you guys in Hawaii. That it's 6 p.m. I'm going to invite my wife Zissel, the Rebbetzin on Kauai, to say a few words because it's getting late, and then we'll have the videos that I tried to play earlier. I'll try again to play some of the videos of the Rebbe that I have, some beautiful interactions with the Rebbe and the Krasianskis with Hawaii, and also other interviews with some people. But for right now, let me try and spotlight Zissel. Okay, Zissel, there you go. You're on.
Hi, everybody. So it's 12:04 p.m. here. Michal and I are actually in separate places. Well, he's in New York. I will be there tomorrow. I'm in Philly, sending our little one to Jewish day camp, while our older one has gone off for the first year to overnight camp. So just processing what this is 30 years since the Rebbe's passing and where Jewish life has gone and the growth of the Rebbe's vision. We could spend hours discussing that. So there were just really a couple of key points that I'll just try to share with you in a succinct way, and we can discuss at another time and expound upon them. And some of the things that were truly unique and really special with regard to the Rebbe is that many leaders want to focus on, you could say, only the big picture, the exceptionally larger projects, and they will delegate, the small stuff to other people. But the Rebbe held both spaces simultaneously, really in balance. The significance and in the big picture, and then the individual, you could say, in the smaller picture, and would be concerned with the Jew in Australia or a Jew in Thailand as much as he would be with changing things on a larger scale. And I find that very, very inspiring, really holding space for both and being able to give equal focus to both. So that's something that I find very inspiring. And I want to take it to the second one, and that is that the Rebbe, unlike other leaders, he didn't create followers, he created further leaders. And as Rebbetzin Pearl said, it was all about empowerment. And I feel like that's a message really for all of us here, to really bring forth the message and the purpose of this world, which is to bring the divine energy and reveal the divine energy that we're meant to reveal, and bring about a complete shift. And each person in their own way has the capacity to further this mission and to inspire another Jew and inspire and bring the Rebbe's message even to those who are not of the faith, but are, there to learn and to grow. And so again, in thinking of the Rebbe's vision for the world, don't think that you're, so to speak, too small and you're going to leave it to some other person. Go out there, share, teach, inspire, do good. Every mitzvah can tip the scale, and we don't know which one it's going to be. So think of it as your mitzvah. And in my third piece, let me see if I can get this here. As Rebbe Pearl also said earlier, the Rebbe saw straight to the soul. The Rebbe saw beyond the layers. And I'm going to reiterate this point. He went straight to the soul. He went straight to the value of each and every person. And something that I see across really, the board here is that many feel like, oh, if I'm not religious, or if I'm not this and I'm not that, I'm not good enough. And the Rebbe never, ever would go down that line. He saw straight to the essence of each person. And we have to keep that in mind in how we conduct ourselves and how we go further. Really, always tapping into that Pintaliyad, into that neshama of ours, into that soul of ours. And with that, I will turn it back over to Michal.
Thank you, Cecil. Appreciate it. Okay, let me try one more time to play these videos. So I've selected a couple of video clips, and I hope it works this time. You can unmute yourself and just let me know if you're seeing the videos or not. I'm going to try one more time to play this. Let's see if this works, hopefully. Can you guys see the screen?
Now we see, but we don't hear.
Okay, I didn't hit play yet. I want to make sure you can see the screen. So that's good.
Okay.
We have progress.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Baruch Hashem.
You see progress.
Okay, this is the rabbi and his wife going past the Rebbe at the dollars line, and you'll hear the interaction about Hawaii in a minute. Let's hit play. And second.
Yaakov Tzur is a major supporter of Chabad in Hawaii. Is coming to
much bless you to go from strength to strength in Tammuz, and from strength to strength in spreading Yiddishkeit around you. And that's for a special bracha to have good news, good health.
I have a question, please, and bracha, because I've been in business for a long time, and I've been the head of the Jewish community in Hawaii. Now I'm losing money, the house and businesses, and I want to have bracha from you to have a tzlacha, so I can do a lot for Jewish causes, as I always didn't.
It would be a good thing to check your tefillin and mezuzahs, that all of them will be kosher, and that will bring additional success in all your activities.
Should I also stay in Hawaii or go back to Israel? Should I stay in Hawaii or back to Israel?
If you are now living in Hawaii, then you'll continue to spread Yiddishkeit in Hawaii. In the Tzor are many Jews who spread Yiddishkeit. In Hawaii, very few. You have good news in Psuri states.
Okay. You saw that? It came through? Yeah, okay, great. There's some more great clips, but if you notice, by the way, the Rebbe says Hawaii like the real Hawaiians. The Rebbe says Hawaii because he came from Ukraine, so the Rebbe says Hawaii. Anyways, he said that there's not enough people spreading Yiddishkeit, Judaism in Hawaii, so he told him not to go to Israel, even though going to Israel is a big thing, because we need more people to spread Judaism in Hawaii. So very powerful. Okay, Zissel had remembered the thing she wanted to say. One more point, so she's going to come back on to finish her point, and then we're going to go to Maui.
It's called the Midnight Brain. Anyway, the final thing I wanted to say is that though it's been 30 years, the Rebbe is still very much with us. I think Rabbi and Rebbetzin Pearl Rabbi and Rebbetzin Krasniansky both commented, but there are still ways to seek the Rebbe's guidance, to seek the Rebbe's counsel, whether it's by praying at the Rebbe's gravesite or by sending a letter and speak to your local Orthodox rabbi after. But people are still being given guidance and counsel and blessing. As they say, the Rebbe will find a way. So I want to really mention that it's not something of the past, but it's still very, very present with us today and now. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Actually, we're going to have soon a visit from Rabbi Shaya Rottenberg in Hilo. He's going to speak about that point a little bit more. I'm putting in the chats before we go to Maui and hear from Rabbi Mendy Krasniansky and his wife Mushka. I'm putting in the chats every so often little links. I put in a link. If you can scroll up a little bit, I'll repost it. A link to Chabad.org/3 Tammuz, where there is resources on the Rebbe's Yartzeit, video, and a lot of media to learn up about. I'll post it again soon, as well as gem.tv, where there's lots of incredible footage of interviews of people with the Rebbe, and video footage of the Rebbe himself speaking, even though he spoke mostly in Yiddish. They have subtitles in English and have some things also that Rebbe spoke in English. There's fascinating interviews with people, and I'll encourage you to check out that website. And there's some free content, there's some paid content. It's worth getting a subscription. You get the access to the paid content, but even the free content is amazing. And I'll post those things in the chat again soon. So let me see if I can play one more clip quickly before we go to Maui. See if this works. This is a clip from Havdalah after Shabbos, taking out Shabbos in 770, the Rebbe's headquarters, the Shul. Can you guys see the screen? Somebody unmute it. What?
I can't see the screen.
No.
You don't see the screen? Okay.
No, it's just black. It's just black
again.
right now.
Wait, what's going on with this thing?
Now we got two black squares.
Not sure why that's happening. Okay. Well, then I'm going to stop sharing until I can figure that out. Okay. Let's go to Maui. Without further ado, Rabbi Mendy Krasniansky from Maui. Take it away.
Considering it's a Farbrengen, a virtual Farbrengen, say Chaim.
Chaim Levracha.
Thank you, Michal, for arranging. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Chaim.
Obviously, there is so much to say, infinite amounts to say today, but just a point that I want to dwell on for a moment is the Rebbe's love, deep love for all Jews and all those, all of us. And as my father, Chief Rabbi of the Pacific Ocean, Rebbe Krasniansky, mentioned before, that a Rebbe, the word Rebbe is an acronym for Rosh B'nai Yisrael, that the head of the Jewish people. And it's much explained about this acronym, that a head, and we know, right, all parts of the body, however, quote unquote, necessary they are for life-giving functions, to the most important, to quote unquote, the least important, the heel and the bottom of the foot, they're all connected to the head, right? They only function and have vitality if they're connected to the head, and the head is connected to them. And a point that you will, one of the points that jumps out when you see everyone talks about their experience with going by the Rebbe, no matter how quote unquote affiliated they were, if they were Chassidim or they were, not practicing, or whichever level of quote unquote affiliation, regardless of that, anyone who came by the Rebbe, they all discuss the profound love they felt from the Rebbe. That when they were in front of the Rebbe, that they were the whole universe, right? The Talmud says that every person is considered an Elam Katan, a whole world. They felt that they were the whole universe. And a couple stories to illustrate this point. I actually just heard a story today, a very beautiful story that, the Rebbe, in my understanding, he didn't just send rabbis to communities, he sent families. So you may hear my whole family on the Zoom. So
that's proof of the Rebbe's growing empire, literally.
So I just heard a story recently that there was once a Jew who wasn't connected, quote unquote, to Chabad. He wasn't a practicing Jew. He wasn't, obviously doesn't make a difference. According to Torah, there's only Jews. We're all one people. But he wasn't so involved in the comings and goings of Chabad. But he had some emergency in his life. So he wanted to get an audience with the Rebbe. As I believe Rebbe Michal mentioned before, the Rebbe used to have what was called Yechidus, which until the wee hours of the morning, people would come by and have a chance to have an audience with the Rebbe. But it took many, many, many months at times to get a chance to have a slot to get into the Rebbe. People from all walks of life would come seek the Rebbe's guidance and counsel and blessing. So this man tried to arrange a meeting, a Yechidus with the Rebbe, and he was told, he has an availability in a couple months. And he was panicking because, he felt his issue needed immediate recourse. So he was told from the people around that although, that he won't have an opening for Yechidus for a while, but if he manages to catch the Rebbe when he's going by, walking back from his 770 home, he could ask the Rebbe for a bracha, a blessing. And, that's a time you could have just a couple seconds with the Rebbe. So that's what he did. He waited outside the Rebbe's house. And the Rebbe was, after 3 hours in the morning, coming back from Yechidus. And the Rebbe asked, and he saw the Rebbe walking to his house, and he quickly jumped in. And he said, Rebbe, please give me a bracha for whatever the issue was. And the Rebbe gave him a bracha, and he went on his way. Afterwards, the yeshiva students who are very zealous about the Rebbe and protecting the Rebbe, and they felt it was quote unquote disrespectful that this person, after all night that the Rebbe was doing chizis and giving blessings, this guy didn't wait his turn or whatnot, whatever they were all upset about, and they gave it to him. So the Rebbe, so this person wrote, the Rebbe felt very bad. So the Rebbe responded to him not to feel bad and whatnot. And that's the Rebbe's job, is there to be there for the Jews to help. But the Rebbe wrote a letter to the heads of the yeshiva to tell the Bachrim that the Rebbe was very displeased with the fact that the Bachrim, the yeshiva boys, felt that they should let this Jew know this lesson. And the Rebbe said, on the contrary, we know famously the Baal Shem Tov teaches, there's a famous teaching, the founder of the Hasidic movement, that for 70 or 80 years, a neshama comes down to this earth, a soul comes down to this earth, just to do a favor for another Jew. And the Rebbe wanted it to be known to the Bachrim that how do they know that this is not the soul that the Rebbe's neshama came down to earth to help. And that was the story. And when you think about it, it's mind blowing. The Rebbe saw thousands of people on Sundays for $1 or whatever. All the multitudes came by the Rebbe, and that appreciation to have, that perspective to have, that every single Jew is the purpose or why you are here on this earth is a mind blowing. I think it speaks of volumes. It gives us a slight insight into the boundless love the Rebbe had for every Jew. And just one more brief story that famously in the later years, the Rebbe would give out dollars. We saw the video of Yaakov Tzor and my father going by the Rebbe, and my mother mentioned the story that the Rebbe would give everyone $1. They'd have 30 seconds by the Rebbe, and the Rebbe would give them blessing, and thousands of Jews would go by. And the Rebbe was already in his later years, in his upper 80s, whatnot, in those years when he was giving out the dollars, the 80s. And so once a woman asked the Rebbe, she said, how do you, you're not a young man and you stand for hours and hours on end giving out these dollars and give everyone blessings. How do you not tire? And the Rebbe responded that when one is counting diamonds, right, they do not grow tired. They do not grow weary, no matter how long it is, so to speak. 1 second, one of my diamonds wants my attention. Half a second. I'm almost done. So, this perspective that the Rebbe had for every Jew, and like Rebbe Goldman was saying, and my mother was mentioning, that this perspective that every Jew is the whole world and that every Jew matters infinitely, and this love for every Jew it was mentioned in the first clip that works beautifully, that Rabbi Goldman played, where the former chief rabbi of the Commonwealth, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, used to have a line, and he used to say that Hitler, may God blot out his memory, hunted down every Jew out of hate. And so the Rebbe, who became Rebbe in 1951, he came, the Rebbe on the scene when the world, a shattered world, he searched out every Jew with love. He was the antidote to this broken world, was searching out every Jew with love. And this love, many Havdil, to differentiate from people who have made an impact in history, they have might, they have power, they have wealth, they have whatnot. But the Rebbe, whose effect is, still reverberating today, not only growing stronger, and as was mentioned, we're commemorating 30 years from Gimel Tammuz. So I believe in 1994, there was about 1,000 or 1,500 Chabad institutions around the world. Today, there are 6,000, 7,000, whatnot, and counting. So the Rebbe impacted the world just with his love and care and concern for every single Jew. One last story to this point, just to illustrate. I mean, these stories, there's a no end to the amount of these stories the Rebbe's care for every Jew. But one story I heard that always impacted me was once a leading Israeli dignitary came to visit the Rebbe, and he told the Rebbe on the way back he was stopping by. He was making a stop in France. So the Rebbe asked him, if you're stopping in France, if you could please go to whatever this address was and tell this person that the Lubavitch Rebbe is thinking about them. So the dignitary went on their way. Of course, the Rebbe asked them to do it. They're gladly, it was their honor. And they thought if the Rebbe is sending this person, whoever he was, who thought himself to be quite important, and he had a quote-unquote important standing, then the person that the Rebbe was sending them to must have been someone who will have a large impact, so to speak, on the broader community, or must be somebody of status or wealth or power or whatnot. And they're very surprised when they come to the address that the Rebbe gave them. And it was a small, dilapidated home. And the person knocked on the door, and a young woman, I believe, answered the door. And the person said that the Lubavitch Rebbe sent me to tell you he's thinking about you. And this girl started crying and crying. She started sharing that she was struggling with this, with a certain struggle, I believe it was to marry out of the faith or whatever her struggle was. And she said, she was losing her faith. She said, God, send me a sign. And that's when this man knocked on the door. And the epithet of the story, the woman said that it's not so much that the Rebbe had the Ruach HaKodesh, the divine inspiration, to see that this woman, that's what she needed at the moment. But it's that this great leader in Brooklyn, right, who had thousands and thousands of people asking for his blessings, all the time and every day, not only thought about this woman, but he cared enough to send this, so to speak, this important dignitary to go let this woman know that she's cared for and she is loved. So I'll just wrap it up and say that, the Rebbe changed and changes the world, changing the world with the love, and that love that he imbued in all of his chassidim, his emissaries, to, go across the world and help a Jew, whatever it is, no matter the task, big or small. And as Rebbe Goldman mentioned before, right, that I think 30 years, or on today, the day of the Rebbe's Gimel Tammuz, the day the Rebbe left us in a physical body, is the day to focus on this, and one for others, right? The Rebbe taught us that every opportunity is an opportunity to bring light and to bring growth and to impact another. So if we merit to impart some of this love in our own lives to other people, and as well to ourselves, to appreciate, we could give some of that love to ourselves, to appreciate how we are a whole world, and the world would not be the same without us. So, L'chaim, may we be zeicha to continue hearing and reverberating the Rebbe's message of that every Yid matters, and the love that we need to have towards ourselves and to every single Jew, and to fulfill the ultimate mission of that the world will know God, and we will be here with Mashiach before we even finish the Zoom. Chaim.
Amen, Chaim, amen. Thank you, Rabbi Krasniansky. Mushka, you ready, or do you want to try to play a video, or do you want to go? Ready?
Try first.
Okay, I'm gonna try one more time to do this video thing. Also, like I said before, check your chat. Check the chat to see links to connect to video and audio of the Rebbe. Let me try one more time to play this video. Let's hope it works this time. I don't know why it's not working so easily. Are you guys seeing the screen yet?
Yeah.
You see the video?
No, maybe when you press play, it will load. You see your mouse in the
Cursor.
It's still black.
Screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you press play.
I don't know why it's not. You hear anything?
Yeah.
You see anything?
No.
You or you just hear?
You can hear it. There's no video.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry, guys. Prepared a bunch of videos to show, but I don't know why it's not playing. Okay.
Maybe.
Try playing it in small screen.
Yeah, I remember once we were doing the Zoom also in large screen. It wasn't working. Maybe without enlarging the screen.
Not sure. Okay, maybe. Try one more time. Some kind of setting thing somewhere. You see it now? You see the screen now or not?
Yeah, we see it, but
you see the Rebbe? You see the video of the Rebbe?
No, you just see the Living Terror program.
You don't see the actual video?
No.
Did you press play?
Let's see. Did you see it now? I made it maximized. Still not.
No.
Okay. I don't know why. Okay, never mind. Okay, stop share. Let's go to Robertson.
Here, Ma. Take it off your face.
Everybody, please mute yourself if you're not speaking. And okay, without further ado.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So this, well, not exactly this day, but the day that we're commemorating, the third day of Tammuz, has a long history. And it not just its most recent, which is 30 years ago, when the Rebbe passed, but the first time that it became a day, the Rebbe actually speaks about this day, obviously before he passed away, and he spoke about how that days in Jewish history, they have a certain energy, the days that we commemorate, and it's the same themes will be true throughout. You see this with, for example, the 9th of Tisha B'Av has always been a very dark day in Jewish history. There's lots of tragedies that have occurred on that day, and so the same applies to this day. And the first time that it's marked in our history is when the Jewish people were going to, Moses had died, and the Jewish people were going to go into the land of Israel, and they were fighting with Joshua as their leader. And without getting into too detail, there's the famous story of he saw that the people needed more time to fight to win the battle, and he asked God to keep the sun, to make the day longer, keep the sun up in the sky for longer, and God commanded the sun to stay up. But there's that famous image of Joshua to hold the sun up in the sky, and then it says his arms were getting tired, so he needed help to hold the sun up in the sky. So the Rebbe asks a question: if you're already going to go for a miracle, like why do you need to do this one? Why don't just God could snap his fingers, have all the enemies destroyed, and we can live happily ever after? Why this one that's kind of within nature and with holding the sun up, and also with the people helping him with his arms to hold the sun up? What's it telling us? And so the Rebbe explains how this day was the beginning of the redemption, right? Because the beginning of the Jewish people entering into the land of Israel, which was their redemption, the redemption of that time.
And the previous Chabad Rebbe also was released from prison.
Yeah, released from prison.
Yeah, he was released from prison on this day. I don't remember the year. And
1927.
1927, there you go. And that was also, we were only going to call it the beginning of a redemption, because the rest of Russian Jewry, whatever, everything going on there, that you couldn't call that redemption, but it was the beginning. It was a start. So if all that's the case, right, then we can look at today and we can see it as a day of tragedy, really. We lost this somebody that there's never been anyone like him in the world, and there probably never will be, the most incredible Jewish leader. And we have been actually leaderless, right, until then. Since then. But the Rebbe himself said that this is a day whose energy is the beginning of redemption. That's what this day is about. So for me, that's the energy I want to tap into. I find that a lot of times when I come to these really big important ideas or really big important days, I get this feeling of like I can't figure out where I fit into the picture. It just feels so grand, and I don't know what it really has to do with me. Yeah, fine, I'm living on Shluchos, whatever, but like, where do I actually find myself in this? And I think that with this, and also, especially more recently, I think not a single Jewish person would say otherwise, that after October 7th, like we all have been so shaken up, and it's just like nothing is the same anymore. And I started to really appreciate the Rebbe's guidance so much more after October 7th. I think that before then I was a little lost in all sorts of ideas, and so many of the spiritual leaning people with all the spiritual ideas that resonated with Judaism, that resonated with what I had learned growing up with Chabad. The verbiage was more modern and relatable to me, and so I would kind of like look for it there. After October 7th, most of these people outed themselves as total charlatans, and I couldn't listen to them anymore. I was just like, oh, you have nothing to say that I want to hear. And I remember feeling kind of just like, I don't even know where to put myself, and this is just all so horrible and so frozen. And then I really remembered the Rebbe and his guidance and his teachings and his and everything that he has said about Israel, and also relating these feelings of like helplessness with the situation. When I remember everything that the Rebbe said about it in a large way, first of all, so then I know what my perspective is on Israel, and I don't have to feel swayed and by all the clamoring voices and falsehoods in that way, and also in a very personal way where you're just like, what can I do, in the face of this unimaginable tragedy that is continuing at the present moment. And the Rebbe really taught us that what we do right here affects what's happening in Eretz Yisrael, affects what's happening across the world, and in a larger way for the whole world. So just getting really, really focused on right here, right now, this present moment. What's the invitation that's being offered to me? How can I bring more godliness into my life and my immediate surroundings, and knowing that somehow that's worthwhile and will also help the situation in Israel. And I think that a lot of times I will look at, I'll just be like, these, like our Jewish people, our Jewish brothers and sisters are being held hostage. What in my life is being held hostage? What part of myself am I holding hostage? How can I release that? And then I feel that I'm doing something very real to to hasten the redemption, which we so sorely need. So yeah, may we tap into this energy of redemption. This day was not a loss, but actually a beginning for the Jewish people. And I think 30 years in, it's about time that we see the ending or the new beginning of that. And Mashiach come now, may the hostages be released and safe. And yeah, I think I said what I wanted to say.
L'chaim. Very nice. Thank you for sharing. Okay. I put in the chat box. I put in the chat box a couple of resources. One is if you ever go to New York, there's a couple places to visit. One is they have a walking tour of Crown Heights. Very interesting. If you're in New York, you can go to jewishbrooklyn.nyc and you can get a walking tour of the Hasidic community in Crown Heights, which is the Chabad headquarters. It's fascinating to see all kinds of things like the scribal arts, how they write Torahs, and a mikveh, and how they bake matzahs in a like a pizza oven kind of brick oven thing for matzahs. But the biggest highlight is the tour of 770, which is the Rebbe's shul, the headquarters of Chabad, and adjacent to 770 is an archival library and research center with some of the most ancient manuscripts and artifacts in the Jewish world, priceless gems. And it's worth it to go to 770 just to go see the library and get a tour. And sometimes you can even get into the Rebbe's room and see where the Rebbe changed the landscape of the Jewish world from. So I encourage you to keep that open. If you ever go to the East Coast, besides going to Broadway and going to watch some musicals and whatever, Lahavdil, take a tour of Crown Heights, go to 770 and get some inspiration. It'll be a really amazing experience. Also, 7 to about 10 minutes from JFK is the Rebbe's Ohel, the Rebbe's resting place, tomb, and a very holy place, open 24/7. And a short 10-minute Uber ride can get you there, and there's people that can help you there. Light a candle, make a prayer. Very powerful place to pray. We hope Mashiach comes soon, and we all, can go to Israel it'll be the resurrection. We'll have the Rebbe with us in person when Mashiach comes. But in the meantime, if you do plan on going to the East Coast, keep in mind the trip to the Rebbe's Ohel, very holy place to pray. Okay, I'm going to try again to show a video. I'm trying something different this time. Instead of playing it off Jem's website, I'm going to try to play it off Chabad.org's website. One last attempt. And if it works, good. And if not, we'll go to Rabbi Galitsky on the Big Island in Kona next. So let me know if you can see my screen this time. Can you see the video, the screen on the Chabad.org website?
Working, Michal.
What?
Yeah. We can see it.
Mazel tov. Okay, must have been a gem thing. Okay, let's try this niggin. It's Koshel Bracha. Koshel Bracha is after the Rebbe would finish Shabbos or Yontif, he would make Havdalah, which is the blessing on a cup of wine that Kiddush should make before Shabbos. This is after Shabbos, so after Yontif. Make a blessing on a cup of wine. And then he would stand for hours and hours giving from his cup to everybody in the room, whoever wanted to come by. And the line would go for hours, just like he gave out dollars on Sunday to people from around the world and blessings. He would give a cup of wine, a little bit of wine, and people would make a l'chaim, would keep that wine. This is called Koshel Bracha, the cup of blessing. So that's what this clip is from. It's just 2.5 minutes.
Good boy. I'm gonna move.
Okay. 1 second. Make sure we don't. Okay. I'm glad that worked out. I'll try to find some more songs and some more clips that I can play off Chabad.org. You see how the Rebbe's attention to every individual. I mean, there's thousands of people in the room. The Rebbe's got the whole world on his head, and he's giving time to every individual. Like Sissel said earlier, one of the amazing things of the Rebbe is attention to every individual. Okay, we're going to go now to the Big Island. The Big Island has 2 Chabads, one in Kona on the west side, one in Hilo on the east side. We have both representatives of Chabad here. But we're going to start with Rabbi Galitsky from Chabad on the Kona side, Chabad of the Big Island, Kona, and let's put you straight up. Okay, there you go. Take it away.
Okay, aloha. There was once a group of high school students that had a private audience with the Chabad Rebbe. The rabbi that was bringing them relates that one of the students had a little bit of Jewish chutzpah, a little bit of a audacity, and he asks straight out to the Rebbe, and he says these were not religious students, but they heard that a Rebbe can perform miracles, wondrous acts. So the student says, Rebbe, tell me, is it true? Can you perform miracles? So the Rebbe responds to this boy, and he says, the act of performing miracles is not given to the select few. It was given to everyone. We can all perform miracles. And the Rebbe said, I'll perform one right now, and I'll show you what I mean. He tells this boy, if you take on a resolve to do something for your spiritual and godly soul that you didn't think was possible prior to this discussion because of your physical nature. We assume we have certain limitations. We cannot do certain things in our growth. The Rebbe said, but if you will take on a resolve to do it and tap into your spiritual soul, which really believes and knows that you can push yourself above those physical, natural limitations, which are more psychological than actual, then that's a miracle. And that miracle you can perform just like I can. And I help people perform those miracles throughout their lives. A Rebbe is one who is igniting the flame within each and every Jew. And as a great saying was said, what's the difference between a good marriage and a bad marriage? A good marriage is where each spouse sees and believes in their spouse more than the spouse believes in themselves. A bad marriage, it would be one where each spouse sees their spouse less than their spouse sees themselves. The Rebbe was able to transform people's lives by seeing in them and believing in them more than they believed in themselves. What attracted so many people to the Rebbe was the fact that he really saw in you greatness that you didn't believe you had in yourself. There was a woman that wrote a letter to the Chabad Rebbe in 1956, and she describes how she's dejected, she's feeling incompetence, she's not leading a productive lifestyle, and she feels useless. The Rebbe's response is recorded. It's available online in Hebrew and in English. And the Rebbe responds to her in a few points. And he said, number one, this thought process that you have right now as just a young student is temporary. It's a temporary state of mind that is changeable, and it's in your power to change it. Number two, the Rebbe mentions you have a power and a talent that is capable of coming out not just to benefit yourself, but that it also will benefit others. If you start, the Rebbe says, point 3, with small steps to bring about that change in your thoughts, which will lead to change in your action, that will help change the way you feel and think about yourself currently. And the Rebbe gives practical suggestions. He says, number one, continue your studies, because getting off track and saying, I won't study further because I feel useless, will just further that thought process. But continuing your studies, throwing yourself into it further. And the Rebbe says, the second part of changing your mindset is by volunteering to help others, especially the youth. And the Rebbe finishes off at this last point. In our current situation that we find ourselves in the world, we cannot afford to give up any talent, especially within the Jewish community, where the more talent we have, the more we can use it. No person that has a talent has the right or the liberty, has the freedom to say, my talent is not so necessary, I'm busy with myself. Each and every one of us are part of the big picture to make this world a better place. Each one of us are necessary. Find the talent, the area that you're good at. Know that it's given to you by God as a gift to use it. And the more you push yourself using it, the more miracle you're going to perform in your life of pushing above that comfort zone, the more you'll start realizing that God believes in you more than you believe in yourself. Tap into that belief, and it will help us accumulatively bring the final redemption. May it happen speedily in our days.
Amen. Shkoyach. Thank you, Rabbi Levi, Rabbi Galetsky, L'chaim. Okay, we're going to try and play another song. The song that I'm going to play is called Amosai. Just to understand the background of the song, I'm going to play the video. The Amosai is an exchange. There's a story in the Talmud that somebody asked Elijah, I think, when are you going to come, right? Or was it Mashiach, maybe? So there's a story of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov was the founder of the Hasidic movement. His soul took a journey to heaven. He was still alive. He hadn't passed away, but he went like on a soul journey, and he saw a tremendous light in heaven. And he asked, where's this light coming from? And he was told that this light is coming from the chamber of the soul of Mashiach, of the Messiah. He said, I want to go to that chamber. I want to meet the soul of the Messiah that's waiting in heaven for thousands of years till the time when when God is going to decide the Mashiach is ready to come. And that soul will come into whoever the person is that Hashem will designate as Mashiach. So they take the Baal Shem Tov soul, he journeys, and he goes to the chamber of the soul of Mashiach, and he asks Mashiach, Ey Masai Ka'asimar, when are you going to come? What are you waiting for? And the Mashiach, in his conversation with the Baal Shem Tov, this is like a soul conversation happening in heaven. He tells the Baal Shem Tov, he quotes a verse in the Torah from King Solomon, when your well springs will reach the furthest places, the furthest outposts, that's when Mashiach will come. We know that Hawaii is the furthest outpost. It's all the way around the world from Israel. It's the furthest outpost. It's the last time zone, the most geographically isolated piece of land. And Mashiach told the Baal Shem Tov, when your teachings, the teachings of Chassidus, the deeper teachings of the Torah will reach the furthest outposts, that's the time for Mashiach to come. So the work of Chabad in Hawaii, of spreading the teachings of the Tanya, of teachings of Chassidus, is part of the work of preparing the world for Mashiach, and we're already doing it. People are learning Torah, people are tapping into the secrets of the Torah. So that's the words in the song you're going to see now. Let me try and share the song. This can you see it? Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is the Rebbe out of Farbrengen, of a Hasidic gathering in 770. Okay. Well, we have to. We're going to hear in a few minutes from Reb Shaya Rottenberg, who's a shlich in Hilo. Waiting for him to come on. He's also on the East Coast. It's also almost 1 o'clock in the morning here. And he just drove all the way from Montreal, from his in-laws, to New York through the night. And he's going to come on shortly onto the Zoom. While we're waiting for him, I'll just share quickly that a couple of things. Number one, this Tuesday is the Rebbe's Yartzeit. Monday night, basically tomorrow night, Monday night and Tuesday. I want to encourage you, if you have a Yartzeit candle, to light a Yartzeit candle in your home and to personally mark the Rebbe's Yartzeit. And another thing is also that, if you're in New York, you can go to the Rebbe's tomb in person. We are here in New York. If anybody wants to send me their name, their Hebrew name and their mother's name, I will write it on a piece of paper and I will personally deliver it to the Rebbe to put on his tomb on the Yartzeit. I'm going to put in the chat my WhatsApp number or text number. You can be in touch with me. You can text me your name and your mother's name, and I will add it. If you want to write a full letter, you can go to, I'm putting it in the chat right now. There's a website, ohelchabad.org, which is the office at the Rebbe's tomb. And over there on the website, you can fill out a form where you can write what's called a pan, a pidyon nefesh, a letter. And it's going to be printed out. It's anonymous. You can write whatever you want. And they print it out and they bring it to the Rebbe's tomb and they put it down without reading it. So feel free to text me. Don't put it on the chat because I'm not going to see it afterwards. Text me on this number, your Hebrew name and mother's name, or go to this website, oilchabad.org, and you can put it on there, and you can write a letter, whatever you want to write. And then while we're waiting for Reb Shaya to come on, I just want to share. As I mentioned tonight, people mentioned that the Rebbe is not of the past, God forbid. The Rebbe is still very much alive, in the sense that he's very much, the soul is eternal. The Rebbe is very much present, and believe it or not, there's interactions people have with the Rebbe. Even today, 30 years later, there are people having interactions with the Rebbe. What I mean by that is, people are receiving communication. Reb Shai is going to talk about it more. I've had personal stories where I've got communication from the Rebbe, and I can tell a story about that soon. But studying the Rebbe's teachings is a way to connect, visiting the Rebbe's shul, but also there's a misconception that you have to go through the rabbi. The Rebbe is a personal Rebbe for every one of you. The Rebbe sent people to around the world to light people up and inspire people. But the greatest thing a shliach can do. Sorry, there's a bit of back feedback here. The greatest thing a shliach can do is kind of to get out of the way, which means to connect a person directly with the Rebbe. And the Rebbe has a personal care and concern for every one of you. The Rebbe is not like in a big executive, right, that has a team that doesn't deal with the individuals. The Rebbe took time of his day to give dollars to individuals, to meet people, to answer people. So every single one of you that's here can directly connect to the Rebbe, individually, personally, through writing a letter, through studying his teachings, and you never know what other communications you might have. And I encourage you to try and establish your own connection, your own personal connection with the Rebbe. Like I said, if you're on the East Coast, you can visit 770, visit his room, visit his tomb. You can connect virtually through studying the Torah of the Rebbe, doing his projects in the world, and you don't need You know, you don't need me or anybody else to connect directly with the Rebbe. And the Rebbe is the spiritual leader of our generation. And even though we don't see the Rebbe today, and it's not as it used to be, and we hope and pray that Mashiach will come soon, we'll be reunited with all our loved ones, and the Rebbe will be leading us out of this exile to Eretz Yisrael, the coming of Mashiach. But in the meantime, we can still connect and receive guidance from the Rebbe. So it's a very powerful thing. We're waiting for Rabbi Shaya to come on, but I don't see him on yet. He just arrived. I think he's davening Ma'ariv. In the meantime, let's see. Brian, you wanted to share about your trip to New York, maybe? You wanna share? Let me unmute yourself. I see Yuri's here. Maybe Yuri will share something too. Brian, you want to share about your trip to the...
I will. So
Go
I'm
ahead.
not very prepared, but
Just off the cuff,
I'll
man. Just
share.
be natural. Speak
Okay. So
you're natural.
we're from Hawaii. I think it was I've lived here for 20 years now. I think it was my second time to 770 and the first time with my children. And I took my boys. We happened to be at the Jewish Museum. They were young at the time. And the Jewish Museum is phenomenal. So we were there and we went over to 770 and we went in, we cracked a prayer book, but we were wearing Aloha shirts. So kind of felt a little odd, right? A lot of eyes on us. Nobody was unwelcoming, but I just felt odd. So after a little while, we looked around the shul itself. We davened quickly and we were leaving. And this is already Friday, maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Place is starting to fill up a little bit. I said, come on, boys, we got to leave. You know, we have to get home before Shabbos. We were staying in Manhattan. And as we were leaving, kind of just turned around, taking a look at 770. And a gentleman came up to us and he said, can I help you guys? You're interested? And I explained that we were already leaving. We go to Chabad of Hawaii. You know, we didn't want to stay around. We were out of place. We're not dressed properly. He said, don't worry about it. Come with me. Would you like a tour? Or would you like a tour? We said, sure, great. So he brought us in and we started in the building next door where the Rebbe's office was. And he took us through the building and showed us yeshiva and a cheder and he opened the door to the Rebbe's office. It was amazing. And he took the time to explain everything to us, what transpired in these different offices. And we went up through the building and we came out on 770 side and we wound up in the shul. And as we were finishing up, I don't know the time that elapsed, but it was really intense. But what struck me is at the end of our sort of tour, his son came up and he was waiting patiently as we were talking. And he said, this is my son. He'll just wait till we're done. And he interjected and said, today is his bar mitzvah. And I was so awe-stricken. So I grew up on Long Island in a conservative shul, and most Long Island Jews, a bar mitzvah is about the show, or that's half of it. You have the ceremony and what takes place in the shul, but for Long Island Jews, the other half is who has the bigger cake and chocolate fountain, and his son quietly waited, and he took time out of his busy day on the day of a great nachas for his kid and walked us around and made sure that we were comfortable, and he extended his Yiddishkeit knowledge and community to us. And I was just awestricken that he would take time on this big day for us. And to me, that was just phenomenal. And it was kind of the whole sense of Yiddishkeit and community. And, you know, even though you're wearing a flowered shirt, you're still one of us. And it was an absolutely phenomenal tour. So that's my 5 minutes about my tour, but it was great. And every time we're in New York, we try to go to Easter Parkway.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm going to share a video and I'm going to tell you guys a story.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. I found this video I was trying to show earlier from Jem. It wasn't working. I found a different link. I'm going to show you a video of Rabbi and Rebbetzin Krasniansky going past the Rebbe. I'm going to tell you a fascinating story that happened with me personally, how I got an answer from the Rebbe.
I had a picture. I can't find a picture of my dad.
I got an answer from the Rebbe through this video. This video for me was a personal message after the Rebbe passed away a few years ago that I felt the Rebbe was talking to me through this video. And I'll tell you the story, but watch the video. And I'm going to screen share while we're waiting for Reb Shaya to come on. And let's hope this works. Can you guys see the screen now? Can you see the screen where it says, oh, he's on, Shaya's here. Can you see the screen where it says regards to the Shluchim? Somebody unmute yourself and give me a...
Yep.
Yes? Okay, great. Watch this video and then I'll tell you a story. Then we'll have Reb Shaya.
Een goede persoon van alle Shluchim, die hebben in zijn land. Het is deze begeerel van is. De Tule participant dan de Gola. Тут вот Спани, тут вот Франц, когда они широко вот, Афрохалаба.
Shluchim Rabba Talmud in Sydney. Aber das hast du doch gesagt.
Ja, ich wollte uns helfen, als ganz Sydney so werden die sich rauszuhören.
Hier geschickt dem richtigen Menschen hin. Das hat getan, die ganze Hilula in Sydney, alle Rebunnen von 200 Jahren getan, was er getan in Sydney.
Aber lass dich nicht verstehen, was sie dann
Nein.
was sie mit alles jetzt sein mit der Krieg.
Ins helper MC, er sagt, eben der Governor, der Treasurer,
Ich will sagen, dass er so leicht zu helfen. Like city states.
Rav Zuber stond in Yerushalayim, viert und da helfen wir nach und dort.
Dann hat Sloch habe ich was so dort von dort gepusht und das da waren die jenes Sachen.
Was meint er ihm?
Und nach Zokin Sakin.
Broche לכל המשפחה, והברוכה von Shliach von Rebbe Rosario Argentina.
Und die Größe von Shliach und das von Allah eine Sache, eine gute Schule.
Vor die Woche in Hawaii auf Shluchos.
Ja, voor de vrouw. In Navaje, in Navaje. Dan zou ik hem slagen. Machen dat dat dier is worden met 18. Zuur is veel.
Okay, you saw that video? Reb Shaya, you're next. I'm just going to tell a story quickly.
By the way, Michal, I do believe that might be the video where the Rebbe gave us the bracha about the preschool that I mentioned before.
It didn't look like it. It looked like it was just
Oh,
Shluch
could be.
but maybe not. Here's a
Maybe.
story that happened with me personally with the Rebbe, meaning I got a message from the Rebbe after Gimel Tammuz, meaning in the last few years. And you'll see that video, you'll understand what happened was. This happened about 12, 13 years ago, before I moved to Hawaii. But I was already involved in the community, and I was going back and forth from New York. We lived in New York, and I was coming to Hawaii for the Chagim, for the holidays. We'd come for the high holidays and go back to New York, and come for Chanukah, and go back to New York, and come for Pesach and Purim and Shavuos. 5 times a year. For a few years, we did that until we moved. And in the same time, I was developing a project called Echad. Echad means one, like Hashem Echad. And I have a project called Echad, all about oneness. So I had a question that I wanted to ask the Rebbe for guidance. I was in New York most of the time, but I was going to Hawaii for 5 times a year. And I wanted to work in this idea of Echad, of promoting the oneness of Hashem, the oneness of all people. So my question in my head to the Rebbe that I was going to write on a paper and put down in his tomb was, should I do it in New York or should I do it in Hawaii? Should I do it? It wasn't just a geographic question, it was a demographic question. Should I do it in New York for the Chabad community and focus in the Chabad community on teaching oneness? Or should I focus in Hawaii for the secular community and maybe even the non-Jewish community? You know, the oneness of Hashem is for all of humanity. Well, the first of the 7 laws of Noah is that there's one Hashem. So it's something that we have to teach all people. So my question I was going to ask the Rebbe was, should I do this in New York or in Hawaii, which means which demographic, the religious Jews in New York or the more secular Jews in Hawaii? What should I gear it for? Where should I base it? And I get on the bus. There's a shuttle bus that goes from 770 from the Red headquarters to the Ohel, the Rebbe's tomb, every day. I get on the bus, and I'm thinking about my question in my head. I haven't even written the notes. I haven't even gotten to the Ohel. It's in my head. And all of a sudden, on the screen, on the bus that goes, shuttle bus goes, there's a video, like these shuttle buses, these coach buses have like a video machine, and they play on a loop the video of the Rebbe. And, you know, thousands of videos. And as I get on the bus, who gets onto the screen? A video of Rabbi and Mrs. Krasniansky, Rabbi and Rebbetzin Krasniansky, going past the Rebbe for dollars. I mean, they went past the Rebbe for dollars on a Sunday in the 80s, or maybe in the early 90s. This happened, 30-something years ago. And they come on the screen. Now, right away, I'm thinking, wow, I'm getting a message from the Rebbe, Hawaii. There's only like 2 or 3 videos of the Rebbe talking about Hawaii with the Krasniansky family. So I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on over here. But what's interesting was the driver of the bus, he had a little remote control and he could change the subtitles of the video to different languages, because if there was a lot of visitors from Israel, he would make the subtitles in Hebrew. If there were visitors from France, he would make them in French. Otherwise, he would just keep it in English, because a lot of the Rebbe's speaking is in Yiddish. He spoke also English, but he spoke French, he spoke Hebrew, but he spoke many languages. But most of the videos are subtitles in English, and he would change it. For whatever reason, there must have been a lot of Israelis in the bus, so he changed the subtitles to Hebrew. So all of a sudden, all the subtitles are in Hebrew. But I know Yiddish. I understood what was happening, but I was wondering, okay, why is it in Hebrew? Anyway, I'm watching the video. I'm on the bus, driving from Brooklyn to Queens. It's a half-an-hour bus ride. And all of a sudden, I see the video, Rabbi Krasniansky and his wife going past the Rebbe, and they're going to tell the Rebbe, going to Hawaii. You just saw the video. And very, very uncharacteristic. Usually, the Rebbe gives $1 to give to charity where you're going. You're going to Hawaii. He has $1 for Hawaii, because there's a mitzvah, right, to give someone tzedakah to give in the place they're going to. For some reason, which I don't understand to this day, maybe the Rebbe understands, and can enlighten us, the Rebbe gave them each $2, and he says you should give one here in New York, and you should give one in Hawaii. Why to give $1 in New York if you're going to Hawaii? They're leaving to Hawaii. But he gives them $2, and he says one in New York and one in Hawaii. And in the subtitles on the screen, it said, Echad b'New York, Echad b'Hawaii. Boom, I had my answer, right? That was answering me. Do Echad in New York and Echad in Hawaii. Both, not one or the other, both. Before I even got to the Ohel, I had already had the answer from the Rebbe. To me, it was like a prophetic moment where the Rebbe was coming to me and answering me through a video of the Shluchim in Hawaii 30 years later. And thank God that the driver changed the subtitles to Hebrew so that the word on the screen, instead of being in Yiddish or in English, I wouldn't maybe have recognized. Instead of saying Einer Do and Einer in Hawaii, was Hebrew. Echad b'New York, Echad b'Hawaii. So that's one of the projects we have to do, is Echad in New York, Echad in Hawaii. That's my personal story, the Rebbe answering me personally through a video. Now we're going to hear from Rabbi Shaya Rottenberg, who's a shliach in Hilo and the east side of the Big Island. Recently moved with his wife, Hinda. If you ever go to that side of the island, you should go visit them. And without further ado, we are going to call in Rabbi Shaya, Rabbi Rottenberg. Where is he? 1 second. What's with your? I don't see you. Your quality of your video. No, why is it? Is it me or is it you? Shaya, what happened? He's probably yeah. Maybe it's time for another video. The Rebbe. Okay. While we're waiting for him to come on, let's see. Waiting for Shaya. It's 1 o'clock in the morning over here. I'm sure he wants to speak already so he can go to sleep. Not, we're gonna ask maybe Yudi to say something. Rabbi Levi, maybe you can text him, call him. My phone is already powered out for the night.
Okay.
Can you call him? I'd love to have him on for a few minutes. Otherwise, we'll do another video, another gem video quickly. Worth waiting for. Trust me, guys. Worth waiting for. While we're waiting for him, I'm gonna play another video. Okay. I don't know where he is, but I'm gonna play a little video of the Rebbe in the meantime while we're waiting for him. Oh, Shai is back. Okay. Oh, Shai, you ready? Go ahead. You're on. You're on. Are you in front of 770, Mamish? Or is that a background?
No, it's real.
It's real. Wow, live from headquarters, my friends. Live from headquarters. Can I know how to? Go ahead, take it away, man. You're standing in front of 770.
Hello, we're right here. We're by right next to the Rebbe's room, where everything started and everything ends. This probably was mentioned before, that the Rebbe, after the Yartzeit of the previous Rebbe, many turned to him, asking him, "What now? Where can we?" Before we were able to ask advice, many came to the Rebbe to ask advice, ask blessings. People didn't make a move. Businessmen, etc. People didn't make a move before asking the Rebbe's advice, the Rebbe's blessing. And many asked, "What now? What should we do now?" And certain things, asking a blessing, okay, that I can understand. The Rebbe's a blessing. I don't have to hear the Rebbe giving the blessing. I could go to the Rebbe's place and I'll get a blessing. But advice and questions, what now? Do we have the Rebbe now to give us the same advice as before? And questions and doubts that we have, whatever it be, could be in any aspect of life. what now? And the Rebbe answered that being that the Rebbe is a true leader of the Jewish leader, he will definitely, when you write to him, he will definitely find a way to answer you. So not necessarily it's going to get the same, we're going to get the same type of answer the Rebbe was saying like before his Yartzeit. Nevertheless, one writes to the Rebbe definitely will get an answer. This is what the Rebbe said about his father-in-law, the previous Rebbe, after the previous Rebbe's Yartzeit. And I definitely believe that it applies to the Rebbe himself, that, you know, many people have different questions, whether it may be in, you know, in their own Judaism, when it comes to their own personal family life, or any question, advice that they need. And I actually had some stories already here in Hawaii. Many people came and they were wondering different dilemmas, midlife crisis. They were wondering about what to do about certain jobs, etc. And they wrote to the Rebbe and they got their miraculously, they got their answer. I do want to share a story that I saw firsthand when I was going every Friday to Manhattan, visiting many people to put on tefillin. One of them, we'll call him Howard Cohen. He used to do many marathons, and he's in his 50s around. And he one day I came on Friday to the office, and he was all depressed, and looked like his whole spirit. You know, he always had a lively spirit, and today he was really, really down, and something radical happened. And he told me that basically he injured his foot, and the doctors told him that, like, the injury that you did, you're never going to be able to run again. You know, forget about running. And for him, that was something, you know, so important to do those marathons that he does, and he did. And like, he was like, that's it. And they told him even walking was probably gonna have to limp for the rest of your life. Like even the therapy, like, I don't remember exactly what aspect of what it was, but basically, so we spoke about writing to the Rebbe, and for him, he was like, writing to the Rebbe, you know, it's been so many years since, you know, we're able to see the Rebbe. This is for me, it's a little bit interesting to go to, you know, go to a grave, to write a letter, you know. And so we spoke a little bit about how the Rebbe's life is eternal and a tzaddik's life is eternal, and it was never about the physical body. And the Rebbe is definitely here with us, guiding us, giving us blessings. And we, you know, after some discussion, he sat down to write a letter to the Rebbe, and, you know, and I was like, okay, let's. He's like, he wasn't so passionate. He was like, well, I'll give it a try. Why not? And next week I walk into the office, and he's like, it worked. He's like, the doctors, I don't know exactly what happened, but, you know, we do have a checkup every once in a while. And, you know, we just had a checkup this week, and all of a sudden they said something happened, something moved around, or I don't remember exactly what it was, but something happened that it was a change in the injury, and that it was a big improvement, and they saw that there was potential for a full healing. Make a long story short, now he's running many marathons, and he just ran one of the biggest ones recently. But basically, we have a Rebbe that's here guiding us, whether, you know, whatever aspect in our own life, the Rebbe is, you know, there for our physical needs or spiritual needs. All we need to do is take a pen and paper or write an email. We have there's a website called Chabad.org. I think someone just, the Rabbi McCall just posted a link. And it's something, especially this Tuesday, very special day, special time, the Rebbe's day, to write a letter to the Rebbe asking everybody could ask for their own family for whatever they need. Together with that, the Rebbe always mentioned that when one asks a blessing, you know, to receive the blessing, we need a cup. Imagine we have water and we don't, we want to drink some water, but we don't have the cup to receive it. So we're just going to go over the table. Someone's just going to pour out those, shower you with blessings, but you don't have that vessel to receive those blessings. On the Rebbe's end, he's showering you with the blessings, shedding the advice. We need to have the vessel. So the Rebbe said that when one writes asking a blessing, they should also take upon themselves something small in acts of goodness and kindness, acts of Torah and mitzvahs. And by doing that, they're making themselves a vessel to receive those blessings that the Rebbe is going to shower upon us. Yeah. Okay, well, Marit, hopefully we'll, we will have coming of Mashiach very soon, and we'll be able to see the Rebbe physically, and Mashiach now.
Amen, amen. I'm really excited that you went all the way to 770 after driving 7 hours, or how many? 8 hours, 10 hours from Montreal to New York. You schlepped all the way to 770 to give us a live feed from the headquarters. That's really, really nice. You know what? Maybe go to the street so you can see the building. If you walk down to the street, people will see the building in your rear view. Yeah. There you go. This is the headquarters of Chabad, 770 Eastern Parkway.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Amazing. Connecting the Mayonis, the Mayon, the Makar, the head with the chutzah. Yeah. I was at the oil on Thursday, and I met a shliach from Israel who built, thank you, Rebbe Shaya, thank you very much, who built a 770 replica. There's a few replicas of 770 around the world. People have built like a replica, not exactly, almost exactly. I said to him, I'm jealous of you. I would love to build a 770 in Hawaii. He said, don't laugh, do it. Don't wish it, do it. So I wrote to the Rebbe. I wish that the Rebbe will help me get a blessing to build a 770 in Hawaii one day. Who knows? Maybe it'll happen. Amen. Anyways, we're gonna wrap it up. It's already almost 2 hours. So I'll finish with a story if that's okay. Since I'm the MC, I could but since you're all here still, we'll finish with the story. If anybody wants to share after this, please, we can open up the floor. Brian shared about his experience. If anybody else is here and wants to share about their experience with a visit to 770 or the oil or the Rebbe or something, please, open mic, So here's a story that happened with me and a Jew from Hawaii on Gimel Tammuz, on the Rebbe's Yartzeit, at the oil. I'm not going to say names because, I don't want to expose the guy. But, usually if you come to the oil, if you come to visit the Rebbe's resting place in Queens, usually you could stay there and you can pray as long as you want. It's open 24/7. You can come, you can pray there, the Tillim, and whatever you want to say for as many hours as you want. There are a few times in the year, there's a lot of people coming from around the world, so they have to make a line non-stop. On Monday night, from Monday night till Tuesday night, the 24 hours of the Rebbe's Yartzeit, there's going to be thousands, tens of thousands of people coming through the oil. There's going to be a team of security and like volunteers, and basically the line goes non-stop for 24 hours almost, maybe a little break at 3, 4 in the morning, of people going through for about a minute each or 2 minutes in the oil. You have the time to say you have to write your note beforehand. You have your 2 minutes and you keep going. And can you imagine the line is non-stop for almost 24 hours? So tens of thousands of people come from around the world to be at this holy day, because it says that the day that a person passes away, the light of all of the accomplishments of the entire life shines, and it's a very auspicious time. So a few years ago, a Jew from Hawaii, he tells me, I want to come to the Rebbe. I want to come to visit 770. He says, I was there when I was younger, in my 20s. I was there for Farbrengen one Shabbos, a gathering. It was amazing. I saw the Rebbe. I've been wandering in the desert for 40 years. He says to me, and I want to come back to the promised land. I want to come visit 770, and the Rebbe, and now the Rebbe passed through. I want to come visit the Rebbe's Ohel. So I said, sure, I'll be more than happy to facilitate. I've had a few people from Hawaii that have facilitated a visit to 770 in the Ohel. I said, I'll be more than happy. When do you want to come? So he gives me the date. I look at the date. I told him, oy vey, that's the week of the Rebbe's Yartzeit. Sunday is Rebbe's Yartzeit. You're going to come to 770, that Shabbos. It's going to be packed like sardines. And Sunday at the Ohel, you're going to wait online for hours to get in. You sure you want to come that day? He says, absolutely. I want to come that day. I say, are you ready to stand online for 2-3 hours? Sometimes the line is an hour, sometimes it's 2, sometimes 3. A few years ago, I stood with my kids on my shoulders for 4 hours. We got in 4 hours to go into the Ohel for 2 minutes. So I told him, listen, I believe it's worth it, but you have to be willing to do it. He said, I just need 60 seconds with the Rebbe. He knew the power of the Rebbe. He knew the power of a tzaddik, of a Rebbe. He said, the Rebbe can make a miracle in 60 seconds is all I need. So I didn't want to ask him what the issue was. He didn't want to, it's private. If he wants to tell me, he can tell me, but I didn't want to ask. So I said, sure. So I was in New York for the Rebbe's Yartzeit. Took him to 770. That's another whole story. But Sunday we get online. I took with me things to learn, some water. I learned with him the Rebbe's last discourse, Vata Tetzabe. We learned Kuntras Shluchos. We learned for hours online. We get to the Rebbe's tomb. As it's our turn to enter, he starts bawling his eyes out. He starts crying. He cries for 60 seconds. He makes his prayer. And already we're getting pushed out because the line has to keep moving. No time to stay. So then next, he comes out of the Ohel after 3 hours of waiting online and 2 minutes inside. He's completely wet from tears. And he tells me, Michal, I'm going. I'll see you. Have a nice day. I gotta go. He disappears. I mean, I hosted him. I had Shabbos with him. I fed him. I took care of him. He just said, I've got to go. So I knew something's going on. I'm not going to ask him, but if he wants to share, he'll share. 3 days later, he calls me up. He says, I'll tell you what happened. I was too emotional to talk at the time. But now, 3 days later, I can tell you what happened. He tells me, the Rebbe helped me in a miraculous way in 60 seconds. So what happened? He says he was married a couple times. The first time he got married, it ended very, very badly, a very bad divorce. And he had a baby. And his wife, at the time, his ex-wife, raised the child that the father is a really bad guy. Like she told him like the worst things about her father. And she poisoned the kid's mind that the father is like a evil man. I mean, he's not evil. He's an amazing guy, but he's a bit strange, whatever. But he's interesting. He's not the usual type of guy, but he's not bad. Anyway. Unfortunately, this kid grew up that her father is bad. In her mind, she was told that he's a guy, not a good guy. So every year, he tried to connect with his daughter. He tells me every year for the last 25 years, I'm trying to connect with my daughter. I call her on her birthday. And I just want to tell her that I love her and wish her happy birthday. And she hangs up the phone on me. She doesn't want to talk to me. And it's like a dagger in my heart. Every year I try again and again. He said, I can't handle it anymore. Why did I want to come to the Rebbe's Ohel this Sunday? Because her birthday is this Sunday. And I wanted to ask Rebbe for a blessing that she should have a change of heart. He says, I tried everything. I wrote letters. I called. And what could I do? Anyway, she's already 30 years old, his daughter. He hasn't seen her in 25 years. She's already married with kids. He hasn't seen her grandchildren, his grandchildren. Comes to the Ohel, cries his eyes out, and he asks the Rebbe for a blessing that his daughter should have a change of heart. Comes out of the Ohel, calls his daughter, says, hi, I forgot what her name was. I just want to call you to wish you happy birthday and tell you I love you. And his daughter, out of the blue, says, Daddy, I want to meet you. He goes to Manhattan and he has a reunion with his daughter that he hasn't seen in 30 years, 25 years, whatever it was. That's the power of connecting with the Rebbe on the day of the Yartzeit, anytime, but especially on the power of Gimel Tammuz. So again, I want to encourage you to, on Monday night or Tuesday, take a few minutes, go to ohelchabad.org, write a note. You can write whatever's bothering you, the deepest thing that's bothering you. Write a note to the Rebbe with your name and your mother's name. It's confidential. No one's going to read it. They're going to print it out. They're going to deliver it to the Rebbe's oil. It's your personal connection to the Rebbe. So that's my story. Okay, let's see. If anybody wants to share something, unmute yourself. Yes. Yochanan, you want to say something?
Yeah, briefly.
Please. Okay, let me find you so I can spotlight you. 1 second. We have Yochanan Aronowitz all the way from Maui.
All
Bakasha.
right. Thank you. Erev Tov.
Erev
Thank you
Tov.
so much. Listen, you're asking about what the Rebbe has an influence on me and on people in general. And I'll just go a step outside of the Rebbe, because for me, Chabadnik, who had the biggest influence, was Harav Adin Steinsaltz, alav hashalom. This is a person who took the message of the Rebbe, which was a story is said as how can he translate the entire Talmud? He's got so much to do. He has other things to do. He has to finish one other thing. He asked the Rebbe, which I do. He said, just start the other project, do both things. So similar to what you said, also, Rabbi Mchot. But what he did was give people the tools and the toolkit to take on what the Rebbe asked his Hasidim to do and the Jewish people to do for themselves. And if you want to see another side of a person who's passionate about what the Rebbe is trying to do, go and look at the video of Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz talking to the Hasidim of the Rebbe. And he did something that the Hasidim that the Rebbe couldn't really do for his Hasidim, which was criticize them, talk to them about really what the frustration was within Chabad. I'm not saying anything negative here, but what I want to say is the Rebbe was a Rebbe for his Hasidim. And Adin Steinsaltz was a Chassid of the Rebbe, and he took a huge portion onto himself to make Jewish knowledge accessible to everybody. And what I would say here, and what the lesson is for the Rebbe and for every single one of us, is to actually do things in Hawaii, to coordinate among the Shluchim of Hawaii, to look at what's going on in Hawaii particularly. We have transient population. We are geographically divided. What we need is more Shluchim in more places in Hawaii. We need to have also big ideas for infrastructure for Jewish life here. And this is, I think, is the message of the Rebbe. It's that through putting your voice into a letter to the Rebbe, or these experiences and the stories you've told, is that people are empowered to be greater than what they think they are. And I think we need to take actual lessons from this kind of Farbrengen into our Jewish lives, not just our personal lives, but in our passion for Avat Israel on our islands, to make this a real dwelling place and to really start talking to each other within Chabad and people who are Chabad friendly here, to make the vision of the Rebbe a reality. And I think I wanted to put this out there to everybody because we have such few chances to actually see everyone here in one place. So thank you so much. And
Amen.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. While you were speaking, I found a video of Rav Adin Steinsaltz and talking about his experience with the Rebbe. So I don't know how long, it's like a few minutes, but I can try play a little bit and see. This is the if you go to the multimedia, if you go to the Rebbe.org, you'll be able to get all these videos and stuff. Let's play a little part of it. Let's see. Can you see it?
Rabbi Adin Evan Yisrael Steinsaltz is a Lubavitcher Chassid and world-renowned Jewish scholar. In 1965, he undertook a colossal project to translate the entire Babylonian Talmud into modern Hebrew. The project took 45 years and was completed in 2010.
The format of this Gemara is that every page, what they call it, the Sonsino or Vilna page, is cut into two. I had at the beginning a problem because the pages were too long. I couldn't, surely not with the printing facilities of the time. It is 65. See, facilities were very, very, very primitive then. I couldn't push them in one place. So it's either having, if I wanted to keep the pages, I had to make things like this size. I mean, I have here, possibly, I suppose, I'm not sure, I don't keep everything. I have all the many ways of trying things. People think that I'm just jumping and doing things. Many of these things were really hard work and trying to find a format. So the Rebbe was the one that gave me this advice. To keep the pages, but cut them in two. So, see, now I never blamed it on him. But that was his advice. It was very helpful because again, you have an answer and you have an authority behind it. So I didn't care anymore. Now, the fact that some people don't like it, see, I never tried to put in many ways, and I could put it in different ways.
Anyway, you get the picture. It's a long interview, but he talks about the Rebbe helping him get the Talmud going, and thanks for bringing that up. You know, there were many amazing Jewish minds out there, like Jonathan Sachs, Chief Rabbi of the United Kingdom, who credits the Rebbe with his career as a Chief Rabbi and everything he produced. Adin Even Yisrael Steinsaltz, right? This Talmud that he produced. The Rebbe encouraged people to use their talents to the maximum and pushed them and pushed us. So, okay, we're gonna say goodnight unless there's someone else wants to share something. Thank you, Yochanan, for sharing.
If I may.
Pesach.
Yes, shalom.
Okay.
I just wanted to share a quick story of how I met the Rabbi and Rebbetzin Krasnojansky
Are you in
on my
Hawaii?
way
Where are
back
you?
from Hawaii. And it's beautiful because they invited me to their son's wedding. And from there, I was able to go to the 770 that night. And I was able to have a Farbrengen session with another fellow Jew from, I believe, a Southern American country. And so I was able to steig there, and I was able to connect my girlfriend to the Rabbi and Rebbetzin, where she was able to be more in tune with her Judaism. And I look forward to joining or visiting the Rebbe's Ohel. And I do intend to make my move to Hawaii because I believe that Hawaii needs more Judaism. And I have exciting plans to bring to Hawaii, as I am a New York local, born and raised in New York. And so I'm so blessed and grateful for the opportunity to meet all these great rabbis and people, and to be able to connect my girlfriend and myself to be more Jewish and connect to Hashem and the Rebbe. And somebody was saying how we need to connect the outer reaches of the world, and Hawaii is the last time zone. And so that resonated with me so much, because you know, New York probably has the densest population of Jews besides Israel. And so we can bring that to Hawaii and make that another outlet for Jews to come and not feel, or rather feel at home.
Right.
So Shkoyach, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah.
It's so great and such a pleasure. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
fantastic. Thank you, Rebbe.
Mikhail,
Alan.
Mikhail,
Yes.
Rabbi Shluchos from India, to tell you quickly, my
India.
personal thing, I'm in southern India because I live cheaper, much cheaper here. I met the Rabbi Ichol and the Rebbetzin in about 1986. Of course, I have a connection with the Rebbe's, everybody, but when you got a question about a siddis, so forth, they're very kind, very loving. Long story short, my eye was bleeding. I wasn't eating right. So the rabbi always told me to Rebbetzin, read Maimonides, the Rambam. I don't pronounce good. You know me. I gave you a ride from the airport maybe 20 years ago.
I remember
So
you.
what
I
happens?
remember
My
you.
eye's not bleeding. Yeah, but my eye's not bleeding no more, and I'm eating better. But to tell you a story about the Rebbe, anybody with any brain loves the Rebbe. There was an Indian that went to a foreign country, made millions of dollars, and he's getting ripped off. His brother was a Ganef. So I showed him the Rebbe's picture, and he started to cry, literally. He says, "Who is that, Rabbi?" I said, that's the Rebbe, Menachem Schneerson. And he prayed to him, and he was able to go home, and he's still settling because it's court when you get millions and millions of dollars. And I told him, you get a good Jewish lawyer, and you'll get it squared away. And the work Chabad does, the rabbi and the Rebbetzins, all you guys are extensions of the Rebbe. As the Rebbetzin said, Pearl, that he's in everybody. But when you have a question, you got to go to Rabbi because you guys are trained. And here I counsel a lot of Jews and non-Jews. And I tell the Israelis, go to Chabad. And in Thailand, I go there, Rabbi Cantor. But I don't have to leave now. I got a good visa. But anyway, the Rebbe's influence, and you know, because I watch the videos all the time. There's 100,000 pages or more of Chabad. And people came to them, Jews, non-Jews, and they get all their answers and all the miracles. So I'm very happy. And I called Barry to see how he's doing. He says there's a Farbrengen online, and I got a hold of it, and I came on. Anyway,
Nice.
I don't want to
Alan,
keep
nice to
this
see
for
you.
2 hours. Yeah, good seeing you. If I come to New York, you're there. I'd like to spend a
Only here for a
Shabbos
few
with you.
days. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay,
Okay.
listen, I want to just echo what one last. Oh, Sasha. Okay, yeah, in a minute. Thank you, Alan.
Aloha.
Yochanan said a very powerful thing. Yochanan said that if I think I've understood correctly, the Rebbe is encouraging everybody to be active, right? It's not just enough the Shluchim. Shluchim is good, but the Rebbe said many times, every single Jew is a shliach of Hashem to bring the light of Torah and mitzvahs to his part of the world, in his corner of the world. It's impossible for the Shluchim to do the whole job. Shluchim are just there to be to coordinate, but we need everybody to get involved. Obviously, you have to work as a team. You have to work with cohesiveness. You have to work, otherwise balagan. But we need to have, work together. But every single, it's not impossible for me to reach all the Jews in Kauai myself. I need to have everybody that I know reach their people, right? And their people reach their people. It's circles and circles. So everybody has to get involved in getting this job done. Okay, Sasha.
Aloha. I visited Ohel twice.
Wow.
And both times it took from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And
Wow.
actually, they were very special nights. It was not difficult at all.
Sasha, where are you? Are you in Hawaii?
I'm in Kauai. In
Kauai?
Oahu. Yes. In
You're in
Honolulu.
Kauai now, Alex?
No, no, Sasha. Oh, it was Alex, Sasha. I don't know.
Alex. You're in Kauai?
Hawaii.
Hawaii. He's in Oahu. Honolulu.
Yeah, Oahu.
Oh, okay.
Honolulu. Sorry.
Okay.
And the second time I asked for something very special and very personal. And I didn't believe that it's possible to happen, but in 3 years, it's really happened. And I still remember both nights like it was yesterday. And I have one more very short note. I don't believe that it's correct to say Russian Jews. In the Russian Empire time, Jews were not allowed to live in Russia. They live in Ukraine, in Belarus, in Georgia, in all other places like Bukhara, but not in Russia. And let's say my parents were born in Ukraine, and I was born in Ukraine, and Rebbe actually was born in Mykolaiv, Ukraine.
But there were also Jews in Russia. Plenty of Jews in Russia too.
No, this is not Russia. Jews
Moscow,
were
Leningrad.
not,
What are you talking about?
Jews were
Moscow,
not,
Leningrad. Plenty of Jews lived in Moscow and Leningrad. The previous Rebbe lived in Moscow and Leningrad. The Rebbe's father-in-law lived in Moscow and Leningrad. What do you mean there's no Jews in Russia? There's a million Jews lived in Russia.
at Soviet time, it changed, but to me, it doesn't make much difference. And
Yeah.
I consider
Well, not worth arguing about it.
myself not a Russian Jews, Ukrainian.
Okay, whatever.
Okay, that's it. Thank you for
L'chaim, everybody. Thanks for joining. Really nice to see everybody. And we should do this more often. All the best. And may we meet in Yerushalayim with the coming of Mashiach speedily, with the Beis HaMikdash and the end of the Galut. And we'll be, the end of the wars. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. We have to keep hopeful and pray every day that Mashiach will come. And that there will be peace in the world, and Hashem will be revealed, and the truth will be revealed, and Jewish people will be celebrated, and anti-Semitism will be a thing of the past, and we will have the Beis HaMikdash, and let the good times begin.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shalom.
And we have a
Thanks for
meaningful,
organizing
productive
this.
Gimel Tammuz. Monday night, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yaron. Thank you,
Much
everybody.
appreciated.
Sei gesund, everybody.